is a magical operation of maximum importance. The initiation of a new aeon. When it becomes necessary to utter a word, the whole planet must be bathed in blood.
Hi, this is John's podcast, and I'm here with the band Mourning. This is Bill, Scott, Jay, and Josh. Cool. So the first question I have is for whoever wants to answer it. What inspired you to start playing music, and how did you become involved with the band? Let's go with you.
What inspired me to start? High school. Two of my friends were playing guitar and asked if I'd play bass.
Cool.
And I fucked it. 2 weeks later, his brother was selling me my first bass. And just almost 40 years later,
Wow.
I'm still playing.
That's really cool. And you, Jay?
Always liked music from the start, so got involved in it due to actually a birthday gift. My mother asked me one day, "What do you want for your birthday?" And back in the day, they had these magazines where you'd flip them open and you could look through all the stuff that was there. So flipped through his book and came across this $50 drum set. Played that for a year, destroyed it.
That's cool.
Yeah, right. And then after that, she asked me actually if I wanted to continue playing with it. She would buy me another drum set, a professional drum set later if I got lessons. So I did. I got a little bit of lessons for like a month or two, and then the rest of it spiraling out of control in my own way.
That's
so
cool.
most of my learning is basically from ear. But ever since then, I just kept building
That's cool.
my style and my kit and all that since then.
Nice. So it's been a work in progress since.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
That's cool. And Josh?
Still is constant work in progress.
Yeah.
I've always been into music. I grew up listening to like my father's Beatles records and stuff, and as soon as I knew a guitar existed, I knew I was going to play it. When I was about 10 years old, my mother bought my first guitar, a cheap Cort that was a Strat, rip-off shape, and a Gorilla amp off of my aunt. It was my cousin's guitar and amp, and he never touched it, so it was my official first guitar. And very first thing I played was the half-ass version of the Iron Man riff, and I was not very good back then, but hopefully I'm a little better now. And I've always played nonstop since then. I've had stints with bass, playing with Jay in earlier bands, and but yeah, primarily guitarist. And, like you were saying, it's a constant work in progress. It's always something else to learn, always something to practice if there's nothing to learn. And so yeah, it's constantly evolving, constantly trying to learn, trying to get better.
That's cool. And Scott?
So I've always kind of been in music too, just like these folks. And I got my first guitar when I was 10, just around there. From there, I had lessons for maybe like a month, but similarly, I kind of, after that, just shut off with doing my own thing. I eventually picked up bass. So I was kind of, in my teenage years, just playing with friends, both guitar and bass, depending on what was needed at the time, and just stuck with it since then.
That's cool. So the next question I have is specifically for Jay, being the drummer of the band. Do you have a favorite drum beat or piece that you've written? What makes it stand out to you?
I would say probably the end of Ingest, I think. Not the actual end, it's like what leads into it. There's a beat that kind of grows, that kind of like hooks the groove into it, and it just kind of flows with the music, and it's fun to play. So without having to go crazy the entire time, that kind of like lets me a chance to like hang back for a minute and just groove with it a little bit.
That's cool.
Which is kind of really what drums are about, is the hook and the groove that kind of mix together.
Nice. So the next question I have is for Josh. Who or what are some of your biggest musical influences?
Metal-wise, guitar-wise, I would say Bill Steer from Carcass is probably one of my biggest influences. Mike Scazia from Rigor Mortis, he's no longer with us, but he was probably one of my earliest metal guitar influences. The whole speed picking thing was really inspired by him. He was just like lightning fast. Tommy T. Barron from Coroner, another guitar influence. You're talking about lessons. I got sent into lessons early on for a little while, and one of the first things I played the teacher was Mass Jackal by Coroner, and he was blown away. Like, I can't play that. He couldn't teach how to play that. So yeah, lessons didn't last very long. So yeah, a lot of it was just self-taught also. But yeah, just listening to music I liked. I grew up on anything from Beatles to obviously things got heavier, and Venom, Metallica, Slayer, and then good old Chuck Schuldiner came around with Death, and that was sort of the beginning of it all. And so yeah, I've just slowly evolved heavier and heavier as music has gotten heavier and heavier.
That's cool. So this next question is for Bill. What gear are you currently using, and what do you prefer to play on?
What gear? My crate. I think it's like 20, almost 22 years old. I've had that just both because we were recording the Blinded by Heat EP, and my guitar. Well, I know it's an ESP. I don't know the model.
Cool.
Or the make.
And Jay?
I have a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
Well, this kit, it's Tom, a Rockstar kit. It's actually pretty old now. It's from the 90s, but it's taking an ass kicking and keeps going. So I just keep using it for the time being. Eventually, I'm gonna be upgrading to the newer stuff that are out there, but not just yet. But it's a custom rack setup that I built for it too. And I use Soultone cymbals, which smaller company than most of the other bigger companies, but they're really good to work with. They're easier to get a hold of, and your stuff is shipped to your house directly. Evans drum skins and ProMark sticks and Axis pedals. That's what I use, and Roland trigger system. Basically, that's all the way around the whole kit.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one other kit, which is my MRP kit. That was a custom built kit. The company's no longer in business anymore, but they built basically a mimic version of that, exactly the same thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Had that for quite some time too, but that's just for playing shows. So like, I can take it in and out easily without having taken 6,000 things apart and put it back together over and over again.
So the next question I have is for all of you. How did how did all of you come together as a band, and like how did everything form?
I'll start that one. Mourning started off as a side project. I started with the original guitarist Mike Connors when my former band was on hiatus, Blood Throne. Drummer at the time went back to Ecuador for surgery, and just in the hiatus I decided to start something new, because I was getting like restless and wanting to play. And just over the years, many members later, Jay and I reconnected and brought in Josh, and Josh brought in Scott.
Cool. That's awesome. So the next one I have is for all of you as well. What motivates you to continue playing music? Like, what drives you?
I go crazy if I'm not playing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the love of music itself.
Weird build-up.
It's the rush that you get when you just like hearing your own stuff or being up on stage, just seeing the reaction in the crowd.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of what I believe too. If you're playing shows and stuff like that, you get like a high from it.
Yeah, and no intimidation for you guys. It doesn't freak you out being up there.
Not really. I mean, I know there's always the little bit of like jitters you get when you first start, but like I said, once the 4 count hits, it's over. You just start. But there's another part to that too for me, like seeing people that are really into your music that you wrote and it either helps them out in their life, and the fact that it brings them to another level makes me feel good that we created something that was basically nothing to us, but to somebody else it becomes something that really affects their life.
That's really cool. Okay, and the next question I have is for all of you as well. What steps do you take to improve your skills as a musician?
Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
Practice.
I look at Josh. I'm like, help. I'm all self-taught, so I actually looking for him to better my playing. Get some direction and everything.
That's cool. And Jay?
Well, there's so many different awesome drummers out there, so a lot of times different techniques are always evolving out on that case. So I kind of watch a lot of different drummers just to see what they're doing and see if I can actually implement what they're doing into my own style to just evolve my playing to make myself better or music better or whatever, just to make everything around a little bit better.
That's cool. And so my next question is generally for all of you as well. Outside of music, what are some of your other hobbies or interests?
We all have to stop and think about it.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. I play Magic the Gathering.
Me too.
Gears of War.
Yeah, you guys can hang out.
I'm not a gamer.
I'm a bit of a gamer, but the quality of games coming out recently hasn't been that great. I'm waiting for the new Gears of War. And,
I got into Star Wars Squadron.
really? How is it?
Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
I played Battlefront when it was Battlefront and Battlefront 2 when it was out a couple years ago. That was pretty good.
Cool.
I haven't touched another one I haven't touched in ages.
Awesome.
Gears of War and Battlefield, that's what I've been playing for like the past 6 months, but I don't know, haven't had the motivation to even do that recently, so it's been all music, all guitar, all metal.
Cool.
Yep.
So my next question, I'm going to allow you guys to pick whoever is best to answer this one because I think it's a little bit of a tough question. But how would you describe your band's sound or musical style to someone who hasn't heard you before?
That's a hard one.
I
lot of people really-
I just call it as death metal. Gets the best reaction.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when the band was first formed, couldn't really compare us to anybody, because just everything combined.
Yeah. It was unique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
That and I think since the members switch around, it made the sound slightly changed a little bit. Gave I think a little more of a like you said the other day, it's got a little more of a death metalish feel now to it than less thrashier feel to the music.
So it was more thrash and now more death metal.
Yeah, actually some people have asked me the same thing. The only way I can describe it is it's black and death metal. Like it's a mixture of black metal with death metal and thrash metal kind of mixed in the middle of it.
Yeah, the songs aren't planned the way they turn out. It's just like however, the riffs are thrown.
Well, which one of you develops the songwriting process most?
I did. It's pretty much me right now.
You? Okay, so this question would be better for you. Can you walk me through your creative process when writing or developing a new song?
He emails us a riff at a time.
Here, motherfuckers. Nah, it's just usually when we start warming up, I just start coming up, with riffs, and then once I get something I like, just by warming up, I'll play it until it's memorized.
Cool. Okay, and my next question is for everyone. What challenges have you faced as a musician or as a band, and how have you overcome them?
Challenges. That's a pretty good question.
Well, there was a time many years ago where I did some kind of nerve damage to my arm and couldn't move my ring finger and pinky for, I don't know, close to 6 months. It took me a long time to regain the function. So that was somewhat of a challenge because, again, couldn't play, and I go crazy if I can't play. So it was just a lot of, I don't know, I couldn't say rehab it, but self-imposed rehabilitation exercises, and eventually got better. And again, this goes back 30 years or so. But that was a musical challenge, physical challenge, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else?
Repeat that question again.
What challenges have you faced as a musician or as a band, and how have you overcome them?
The biggest challenge as a band is finding a drummer. Jay, I think he's our 5th drummer.
Oh, wow.
But it's just like drummers for this style of music. It's like next or near impossible to find. These days. And then just as we lost members, it just started getting discouraging. But I just kept pulling my weight to try to keep the band together.
That's cool. So lots of struggles then.
Oh, with constant member changes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What goals do you have for the future, both individually and as a band?
What goals? To get at least a good tour. Not just one show a year.
Yeah.
Goal for myself as a musician, get better. And as for myself, just keep on living.
That's cool. Scott?
As far as a band, I have a goal of wanting just to have a new CD that we, because I'm a little more recent in terms of coming onto the band, so I'd like to have a CD where I can play it for my kids and be like, this is me.
That's cool. Jay?
I would say probably trying to get us more into having more shows and kind of the same thing, a little tour kind of situation. Getting onto some of the shows that are a little bit more substantial than just your typical whatever local show type thing.
Yeah.
I think we got a pretty good lineup of shows this coming up. Hopefully it helps us get to the next level is what I'm looking to do.
That's cool.
And for myself, actually, I've been working on, so many years ago, I broke my left finger, my pinky.
Mm-hmm.
So my left hand plays differently than my right hand. And I started noticing it more recently that my beats are faster on my right hand than my left hand. So now I'm trying to retrain my left hand to play the same as my right hand, so I can split my body a little better than I was, and to be able to just pick up the speed and a little less tension on my right hand, because a lot of times I have to shift my body to play right versus left. And I think it's doable. It's just going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing for, I don't know, it must be over 25 years with the same technique of my left hand because of my finger.
Oh, wow.
So,
well, that's cool. Well, thank you guys for doing this interview with me, and we're going to wrap it up here, and thank you for coming down and doing everything. So this is John's podcast with Mourning, signing out.